Hi, and welcome to this series on 5 things I wish I'd learned sooner in the equestrian industry. This is number one. So, number one is how to connect a horse correctly. When I first started in the industry, I was taught that you use your legs in your seat to drive the hind legs under the horse, and then you contain the energy into the rein. So that's how I did it for an awful lot of time. That's how I also rode horses to compete them. But then I realized there must be more to this because it was causing an awful lot of problems in the horses, and balance was difficult. Tension was also a problem. So then, once I realized that really wasn't working, and I learned how horses function, what I discovered was actually, yes, the engine is in the hind end, but the thoracic sling needs to lift in order to engage the hind end correctly. So, what we need to think about when we ride our horses is actually the rib cage and the shoulders need to come up. Otherwise, the hind end cannot function or connect correctly to the back. If you imagine that your horse is naturally built downhill, they carry more weight on the shoulders than they do in the hind end. If you're then just driving that forward, you're actually pushing it more and more onto its head and onto its shoulders, so it gets into more and more difficulty. Once you think that actually it's a better option, once you understand how horses function, that actually you need to come up and out of the lower neck, lift up through the thoracics, then you can start to use your leg to connect the hindquarters to that, because then what happens is if you're lifting the front, the hind legs have the possibility of coming underneath the horse. So I really wish I'd learned that sooner, because a lot of horses were struggling, running onto their head a little bit, overloading the front end, then having to compensate in the neck because there's not enough space in the front for the hind leg to come under. The more you drive it onto its front end, the more the front end is loading and the more difficulty the horse actually has. So I really wish I'd learned that sooner. Now when I'm training my horses, whether I'm training them on the ground or in the ridden, it's lifting up the lower neck, allowing the horse lengthen the lower neck, lifting up the thoracics, and then engaging the hind end. If you found this video useful, then please like the video and feel free to subscribe, turn the notification bell on. You can leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I learned here, whether you knew that already or whether that's the first time you're actually hearing that, and how your horse is actually, if you try it on your horse, how your horse is actually then going. As usual, you can find further info about me on the website